Teachers of Reddit, what was the best prank a student pulled on you that you weren't even mad about? A student brought in a huge watermelon, dumped it on my co-worker's desk and said they were out of apples. It was so random, and we all got a big kick out of it. I wish I had a good story to tell. I prank them way more than they prank me. My students' version of pranking me is to ask me, hey, do you know the word responsible? Spell it. And then be very very sad when I spell out IT. Child, I wasn't born yesterday. Not a teacher, but the student, or better, one of the students, that played the prank. Back in 10th grade our school had to take on far more students than possible thanks to some stupid reforms. This resulted in every possible room being repurposed as classrooms. We had desks placed in the former school kitchen. After they got rid of the stoves, a part of the gym walled off and a fair share of storage and utility rooms just packed full with benches and movable chalkboards. We were one lucky class residing in a former storage room, basically a slightly bigger broom closet with zero natural light and a hardly working ventilation system. That room had nothing except for one thing, built-in closets on every wall. Now, about halfway through the school year we discovered that the backs of these closets were just half-inch thick wooden plates and that those plates were the only thing separating our classroom from the hallway outside. We furthermore discovered that in one of the closets, said plate was loose on one side, so you could push it open from the inside and step out on the hallway. This worked just from the inside, because once you stepped through, the panel slipped back in its original position, leaving no clue that it was a hidden exit. So naturally, one glorious day the whole class decided to play the best prank ever. During the last 2 hours of the day, we would step into the closet one by one, to seemingly disappear into thin air. We would start slowly, with those sitting nearest to the secret exit. They would wait until the teacher turned their back to the class, writing something on the chalkboard. He didn't even notice the first one vanishing. He scratched his head at the second one. Now we got bolder. The students more far away also snuck out once the teacher's back was turned. At the fourth one missing, he asked us what was going on. We of course acted like we knew nothing, and said the missing students called in sick the whole day and had never been in the classroom. We actually convinced him. So we took the next step and, again one by one, students would leave in his plain sight. Every 3 or so minutes, one of us would just stand up, get in the closet, close the door and vanish. After the sixth one missing, he finally went to the closet, ripped open the door and of course found an empty, innocent closet. We acted as if we wondered about this behavior, asking him if he was looking for something. He told us that he had seen those students enter the closet. We told him that he must be mistaken, because they were sick the whole day, flu season. This went on for an entire hour, him ripping open the closet door multiple times, before he finally decided to go to the director to have us all suspended. By this time there were only 5 or 6 students left in the room. Of course, as soon as the teacher left the classroom, we contacted the now missing rest of the class, which were waiting nearby to come back immediately. So when the teacher and the director came back, they found a full classroom. It was the most hilarious and at the same time impressive prank I ever took part in. Our poker faces would have put the most seasoned poker player to shame that day. Edit, we told both the teacher and the director the truth a few weeks afterward, and they had a good laugh. No one got punished, but they fixed the loose panel, so no more sneaky exits for us. Frown. Edit, holy cow. My first silver and gold. Thank you all. A teacher took a cell phone from a student, opened the ceiling tile and tossed the phone so that it was above the neighboring classroom. Then all day people would call the phone and the teacher next door went insane trying to find where the noise was coming from. This was the roles reversed. It was this one student's birthday and it was during homeroom. The teacher yelled at him and made him bring his phone over. The teacher never gets mad, so it scared all of us. When the student brought over his phone, the teacher told him to open the cabinet next to him and put it in there. When he opened it there were cupcakes and the teacher then told him happy birthday and handed out cupcakes. The other day I had to leave 12 female 9th graders in the classroom alone for like 3 minutes tops. I jokingly told them to be good when I left because I knew they weren't going to do anything besides sit there and talk. When I came back they had turned as many things upside down in my room as they could. Desks, chairs, stuff on my desk, a microwave, trash cans. It was funny because it didn't harm anything and I wasn't expecting them to do anything ornery when I was gone. They were so proud of themselves, couldn't stop giggling, embarrassed smiley face. 2 students stole my stapler and tried to do the jello thing with it, which, I admit, I would have laughed at. But the idiots put the jello in the freezer so it would set faster. All it did was freeze the water which promptly melted all over my classroom's floor. I laughed my ass off as they frantically tried to clean it all up and explain. I was teaching a large group of students in Mexico. Someone raised their hand and asked is it pronounced Murenz or Murans, roughly translated go die. I was confused because I didn't understand what it had to do with the subject. So I repeated the question. Everybody, like 80 students, then dropped dead on the floor. I was impressed with the fact they coordinated it. But seeing as they botched their own prank I just rolled my eyes and kept teaching. Not the teacher, but my boyfriend once colluded with 2 classmates to bring a blender, milk, and some other ingredients to school and started making a smoothie in the middle of English class. If it's okay. I was the student at the time but I know I can speak for my teacher as I know him to this day and he remembers it fondly. If we ever asked our teacher something about the lesson that was incorrect he would respond with if you believe that then it says gullible on the ceiling. One day he stepped out of class for a minute and a bunch of us taped a piece of paper with gullible written on it on the ceiling above his desk. Then we waited. When the time eventually came he tried so hard to not be amused by it but he laughed about it for a while and left it up there till the end of the school year. Not a teacher but a student. My teacher called me Doug for the first 2 months of class or so. My name isn't Doug. I thought at first he was saying dog like as a joke trying to be all hipster. But I kind of thought it was funny so I never corrected him. A girl in my class eventually told him and so he stopped calling me Doug. Unless he wanted to prank me. Then one day I got bored in class so I started zoning out. I sat in the front of the class so he noticed this quickly. Douglas, please focus. I actually responded XD sorry Mr. L. The class broke up in laughter. Lmao. TLDR, my math teacher called me Doug by mistake. And now I respond to the name. Not the teacher, but a student in class which participated in several April Fool's jokes. First, before recess, our class discussed with the next door class to swap classrooms for the lesson right after our recess break. We carried it out perfectly and when both teachers realized they couldn't stop laughing, our teachers were cool too and just carried on the lesson like nothing changed. The teacher then realized that we did not take the subject, biology, so she ended up just showing us YouTube videos till the end. Second, for our final lesson, geography, on the same day, we turned our tables 90 degrees to face the hallway and locked the doors. Our geography teacher was the coolest and chillest guy we know so we went all out. When he couldn't open the door, he looked through the window to see us all facing him in the hallway. He couldn't believe his eyes. So, as the smart and quick-thinking teacher he was, he started teaching us from outside. LOL. Only lasted for like 10 minutes before it became a nuisance for both the teacher and the students. So we gave up and unlocked the door. This was a prank on another student. This one student would fall asleep in his desk every day. He would just cross his arms, lower his chin, and he'd be out. One day a group of kids quietly picked up his desk, took him to the elevator, and quietly walked him down to the principal's office. Then with a loud AM the principal woke him up. He was so shocked. Not a teacher, but in my junior college abnormal psych class we got to the room and it said on the board the teacher was going to be late. So we erased it, wrote class cancelled, and migrated to the room across the hall. She got to class, stormed off, and eventually came back to find us all in the room like nothing happened.